Hi, I'm Mark Mazzaferro, and it's time for another episode of Fire Facts. And with us, as always, is Fire Chief Kris Concepcion. Chief, thanks for taking a little time out of your day.
Mark, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
And as always, we're going to provide some updates about what's going on in the department, any other news items. So let's start off by talking about our good friend and longtime Vacaville firefighter, Phil Sanner.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about and give an update about the fire department, and we did have Chief Sanner get promoted into the interim deputy chief spot. He's taking or filling a vacancy for us. Very glad that Phil decided to do that. He's really helping me out quite a bit as the number 2 for the fire department. He's very well respected in the community, as very well respected in the fire department, and he's already doing a lot of good things for our department and making sure that we keep moving forward. So it's a good thing. So next time you see Phil in the community, please tell him congratulations and thank you.
So deputy chief, right?
Yes.
So you got fire chief, that's you.
Yes,
Deputy
me.
chief is Phil.
Yes.
Then battalion chiefs.
We have 3 battalion chiefs, 1 per shift.
Gotcha.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So the deputy chief is kind of like vice president. Do you send him on, stupid trips to oddball countries, or I'm sure he's got a lot of responsibility.
Well, there is a little bit of that. Yes, he has a lot of responsibility,
Okay.
but there are times when there are certain things that I can't make. Some of the events that maybe I'm double booked, where he has to go to a ribbon cutting for me, or give a presentation at different community groups and that kind of thing. But no, for the most part, really the deputy chief is the person that really runs the fire department. The fire chief is really more responsible for having an external look and making sure that the fire department is doing well in the community. But the deputy chief is really has a lot of responsibility, because he's the guy that makes sure that on a day-to-day basis he takes care of all the details.
So what you're saying is he's making you look good.
Exactly.
Let's face it,
Exactly.
right?
No, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
But speaking of making you look good, that's what a lot of your firefighters do all day, every day, right?
Exactly, and that's as I've said from the time that I started here, it was really clear that everyone in the fire department were very good people, and I see them every day doing something that I'm extremely proud of.
So, and this is no surprise, I was going to ask you, well, what do you do? I'm trying to be Joe Reporter. What do you do to recognize people?
Yeah.
But people know that there's an annual award ceremony that you guys hold every year. That's why it's annual.
Yes, we just
tell us about it.
We just had the award ceremony last week, and it's one of the favorite things that I get to do as fire chief, because we get to recognize on a formal basis all the good things that our people do. They're out there, like I said, doing good things all the time. But we added a couple of things this time around, and we also recognize some of the citizens out there. We recognized Cody Bassey, who is a 5-year-old that on his own decided to collect money for, do his own fill the boot. And in the last year, he's raised over $2,000. And you got a little 5-year-old that's doing this on his own.
Right.
And what I told his mom is, Cody taught me an important lesson. He's taught me, lessons about, what my priorities ought to be. So I felt that Cody, deserved the recognition. So we, gave him a special recognition, citizens recognition then. Another person that we recognized was someone that's in the fire department, and that's firefighter paramedic Darius Zarabi. He was awarded the Frank Springer Award, and that's equivalent to the Paramedic of the Year in all of Solano County. So with all the paramedics that there are in Solano County, that's quite the award to get Paramedic of the Year. And Darius is a very hard-working guy. He's always a nose to the grindstone kind of guy, so he's constantly working. So very deserving of that, so we wanted to give him some recognition there too.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's a well-known fact that a lot of your calls are medical calls.
Yes.
So these guys are and gals are constantly doing medical things,
Absolutely.
paramedic type stuff. And,
Yeah.
and real briefly, the difference between an EMT and a paramedic.
Yes. Okay. So an EMT is what we call an emergency medical technician responsible for basic life support. So they can do CPR, they can do the basic skills as far as medical care is concerned. Paramedic is quite a bit more that they're allowed to do. They're the ones that that can start an IV, they can put the monitor on, read the heart rhythm, and those kind of things.
Can they can administer drugs too?
They can administer certain medications. They're the ones that they do what we call advanced life support.
Right.
So they do quite a bit more as far as the medical care is concerned. And as you said, 75% of our business is medical aids. So very important that they get recognized for the good things that they do. And speaking of medical aids, I also wanted to talk about a couple of the people that we recognized, our citizen heroes. And we had Tabitha Garcia here earlier and talking about the fact that she was willing to give CPR. And then earlier in the year, and then unfortunately didn't get recognized right away, but just as deserving was William Pulsifer. And he's a trainer at one of the gyms, and a teenager went down, full arrest, no breathing, no heart rhythm at all. He started CPR, and he actually also hooked up the automated external defibrillator, or the AED, and it actually delivered a shock. So, and from what I understand, that AED had only been at that gym that was the second day it was there. So shows you the importance of citizens engaging in the medical care, and that allows us to get there in a timely manner and provide the care and really save lives.
That might be a good episode for future Fire Fact, the AEDs and how they work, and because I've had some training on them, and they talk to you, they tell you what to do and where to place them, and if it's in the right spot or not. It's a pretty amazing device. They can save a lot of lives, and actually has. And
they're very easy to use. Even I can use it, so they've got to be easy.
Holy cow! They can't be that easy, Chief. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and you're absolutely right. I mean, they're on the wall, and you take them down, and they talk to you. I mean, it tells you place the leads here and here, and it tells you what button to push, and all that stuff. And they really do save lives. So they're good things to have. Yeah, we'll certainly do that. And then another thing that we want to do in the future is we want to show why it takes 5 firefighters and paramedics to be on a simple medical aid. So
we have answered that question many times, and it comes up over and over and over again. I've heartily endorsed repeating the message, because people, they need to know why. They need to understand why. But let's not digress too far. Let's get back to the awards. So what are some of the other awards, like best movie, best actor?
Well, we always choose a firefighter of the year, and then we have an administrative employee of the year, and we have a dispatcher of the year. So starting with the dispatcher of the year, Kristen Royal was the dispatcher of the year, and she's very deserving. She was one of the few that were nominated, and as I said during the award ceremony, dispatchers have a special place in my heart, because I know I cannot do that job. I wouldn't last maybe 15 minutes in front of the console. I mean, these are people that get people that are dialing 911. They're at their most hysterical. They've got to calm them down. They've got to figure out what the problem is, and then not only do they have to do that, they have to figure out where that emergency is, and then they have to send the right help. They have to figure out, is it a medical aid, is it a police matter, is it a fire, what is it? They've got to calm the person down enough so that they can tell them what that problem is and send the right help. So Kristen Royal is very, very deserving of that. Yeah,
that's a tough job. I'm with you. I couldn't do that job.
No.
I would start getting nervous, and my typing would disappear, and it'd be like, uh-oh, can you hold, please? You don't want that. You don't want anybody put on hold.
You want them calm under fire, and that's what they really are.
And okay, how about administrative employee?
So next is administrative employee of the year, and that was Amber Payne. And Amber is, again, very deserving, one of several that were nominated. And Amber is, maybe you've seen her around the office, and she's usually one of the first people that you'll meet in the fire department, because she works the front counter there at the fire department. So if you're ever there for anything, any of the customers, you'll meet Amber. And she is the consummate team player. She is willing to pick up and do whatever is needed to make sure that the fire department is keeping moving in a forward direction. So I've seen her, doing all kinds of different things in the office, and she's always got a smile on her face, and just always working hard. So again, very deserving. I don't think she says very much, and like I said, I said at the award ceremony, she probably doesn't remember it, but she's the first person that I met coming into town, because even before my interview for the fire chief's job, she's the one that greeted me at the counter. So like I said, so you'll get to meet her, and again, very deserving.
It's funny because in previous years, the administration person of the year, there weren't a lot to choose from. I mean, times were hard. People were either leaving and not being replaced, or actually getting laid off. We had a few part-timers that went away. So it was either Jill or Cheryl or Nancy. It's like, okay, who's, we're just going to rotate the pictures. So it's not, I mean, not that it wasn't important or they didn't do a great job, but now it's like, wow, you've been able to build up your staff a little bit down there.
Yeah, we have been able to do that, so I'm thankful for that. We're still not quite up to full staffing, but we do have quite a few more people in administration, getting to do more of the fire prevention stuff and code enforcement, and all the things that really do need to get done. And I've got to tell you, every one of those people are very, very hard-working folks. I'm there every day. I get to see it on a daily basis, and they're always working real hard. So any one of the nominees probably were just as equally, deserving of being selected as the administrative employee of the year.
Sure. And then finally, firefighter of the year.
Firefighter of the year. That went this year to Brian Bothier. And Brian Bothier is, again, one of the first people that I came in contact with, because he is responsible for the PPE, or the personal protective equipment. So, as the fire chief, I've got to get all of my turnouts and helmets and, all the equipment that keeps me safe. And so he had to call me and contact me even before I started working here. So Brian was one of the first people that I ever came in contact with. And from the very first time that I talked to Brian, I recognized that Brian was just that, as I said about Darius, a very nose to the grindstone kind of guy. He is always working hard. And the one thing that I noticed about Brian is he does a lot of stuff, not just while he's on duty, but I'll get a call from him while he's off duty, because he's constantly, his heart is absolutely in the right place. And you want to talk about somebody that's dedicated to the Vacaville Fire Department, that's Brian Bothier. So again, very deserving of the selection as Firefighter of the Year.
So when you talk about your protective, you're talking about your turnouts and all that stuff.
Yes.
I mean, did he show up with a measuring tape and do your?
He had somebody else do that.
Oh, somebody else.
Yeah.
All right,
but he was there while that was.
But he helped. Okay,
yes, exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, we've had this discussion many times about the dedication that your folks have. That you have to do a good job in the fire service and most public safety jobs, and generally anybody who's going to be good has to have that level of dedication, whatever your job might be.
Sure.
So but it's important that these folks get recognized.
Yeah, and I think the importance of the award ceremony, and there was about 100 people there, and from what I understand, it was one of the better attended ceremonies that we've had. So we want to keep growing the ceremony, because I think it's really important to recognize our folks. But really the biggest thing for me is it gives us a chance to recognize the people that are kind of behind the scenes. We do see the firefighters on a daily basis, and we see all the good things that they're doing out there on a daily basis, but we don't always get to see the ambers out. They're not out in front of you. So it's and the dispatchers, they're always behind the console, so they hardly ever come in contact in person as far as with the public. So it's great to be able to recognize those folks.
Well, good deal. Congratulations to all the award winners and the citizens who are recognized. Personally, I think that's the best part of the ceremonies, especially when you got a 5-year-old kid. That's got to be like a dream come true for that little guy.
Absolutely, and he's very deserving of the award. And like I said, one of the favorite things that I get to do as a fire chief, get to recognize people. So I can't wait for next year.
Sure. So what else is going on in the department? Anything you want to share with us?
No, everything is going along swimmingly, which is good. We have not had any significant incidents, again, which is good. We've had about the normal number of responses as far as emergency incidents. Station 75 is the one that is the thing that's really on the horizon for us right now, and we're expecting that to be completed probably by the end of April, and probably hopefully have it staffed by mid-May. And then we'll have a big dedication for that also.
I was out there the other day just checking on the progress. It's come along pretty good. It's looking nice.
Yeah.
To the untrained eye, it looks like it's finished, basically. I mean, there's still work to do, but the structure is there.
Yes.
And they need to get in and do all the wiring and all that stuff, which is what I think they were doing when I cruised by. But it's looking good. It's going to be good for that part of town.
It's going to be absolutely good for that part of town. And the other thing that we've done, and one of the things that Phil has been working on even before he got promoted to deputy chief, was the response zone. So obviously when we add a station to the town, then we've got to change the response zones and what station is responsible for what part of the community. So that's being changed right now, and so when Station 75 opens up, we'll be able to flip a switch and be able to dispatch the right unit to the right location. And
correct me if I'm wrong, that's got to improve response times throughout the city, or yes, no, or
yeah, it really, especially down there in the south part of town, where there was a hole. So it's going to significantly improve response times down in there. We are working on probably doing another standards of cover to make sure that our stations are staffed properly and our apparatus are located properly. We have to take a look at that every now and then, just as the community grows. Sure. So it's a good thing to look at, and we'll be looking at that throughout this year.
Good deal. Well, Chief, sounds like there's been a lot going on in the department since the last time we chatted. Somebody had a baby in the back of an ambulance, right? That's huge, too.
Yes, absolutely.
I've seen babies born in hospitals. I have two myself. I was there for it. I can't imagine, having to see that with my naked eyes in an ambulance, but I guess that's part of the deal, right?
Yes, I mean it is, and again, the Vacaville firefighters doing good things. The patient just the mom just couldn't wait, and the baby was delivered in the back of the ambulance by our paramedics, and I got to say that, and it was by one of the newer firefighters. So I thought that was a good thing. It was a great experience for them.
Welcome to Vacaville.
Yeah. So it was a really good thing, like I said, doing heroic things on a daily basis.
Good deal. Well, Chief, thanks again for taking a little time out of your day, and thank you for watching this episode of Fire Facts.